Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Finally back from CES 2019. Trying to get the voice back with some tea as always, but I do want to recount some of my favorite things from the show. I'm catching up with what's left of my coverage, so you can see that not only here, but also at Pocket Now. The links are all in the description down below, or if you wait until the end of the video, hopefully you do, you'll see links not only for my subscription button, but also for Pocket Now's. So there was a lot of fun to be had at Las Vegas for the show, not only because we saw all of our friends, but also because I did some stuff outside of what I'm used to at CES. If you probably know by now, I've been doing phones for the last 6 years because of my last company, but now I've been able to branch out and look at general tech and actually have a lot of freedom as to what I wanted to check out at the show. So with that, let's just go ahead and jump in, and I want to talk about TVs first because it was one of the first things that I saw when I arrived in Las Vegas. This in particular is the LG OLED TV R being rolling. Quick disclaimer, I am new to the world of TVs, so I don't really know all of the terminology or really where the innovations have gone, aside from just how cool a lot of these things looked on camera. So the OLED TV R is the rollable wallpaper display, wallpaper TV that they already announced last year. And I was complaining last year because if you have a TV like that still has to be tethered to this huge thing, it's kind of like having a big, awesome monitor on your desk, but it's still tethered to that huge computer tower. It kind of defeats the purpose if the main marketing strategy here is to say, look how thin this is. But that's okay because LG found a way to actually make it work. The rollable TV rolls into the base, which itself is a soundbar of sorts, and it has all the bits and pieces needed to process the image and do all of the computing so that you can get smart TV capabilities. And just the fact that it rolls in and out is just so cool. You can literally put your TV away, and the base can be used as a speaker of sorts if you want to do other things without a visual component. But if you do need an interface for that speaker, or for really anything else, the rollable TV will come up just a little bit, about a quarter of the way, and give you an interface for the audio controls. It also will allow you to do some fun things like have a sort of digital fireplace, or you can have rain sounds as ambient noise in the background, and it will actually show you rain falling in that little portion of the screen. I really want to get my hands on this kind of TV, but I get that it's probably going to be super expensive. That is the case for a lot of TVs that are conceptual, really awesome to look at, and that brings me to yet another product that is a TV that is really unique, and that is the micro LED wall by Samsung. This is something that we saw last year once again, but now we have these micro LEDs that are put on these panels that you can modularly put together. I don't even know if that's a term, modularly. You can stack them. So once you stack them all together, you can get a TV that is as big as you want it to be, or you can just have these displays that are of really unique shapes. It's really awesome to see. The thing is, I don't really know if this would actually be a consumer product. Would there be someone out there who actually wants to get that many panels, no matter how much they might be, and try to put them all together on their wall? There are some really fun uses for it, but I just don't know if anybody actually wants to have something they have to fiddle with. They just want to sit down and start watching TV, man. In any case, there are plenty of other pieces of tech out there, and since we're talking about Samsung and LG, I can move into laptops a little bit. The first one that I want to talk about is the LG Gram. If you haven't seen my video on this for Pocket Now, here is a card appearing right now. Go into the description, you can also see it that way. These are just really fun. These are really fun to cover because even though they might be a little overpriced considering they don't have a GPU in them, a 17-inch screen laptop like this being light as a feather, man, that was really a surprise. It's something that you just can't help but react to, and that's what you want out of tech, is that kind of really genuine, surprising reaction. Samsung even got that bit of a response from me when I saw that they made a laptop that uses the S Pen. This is the Notebook 9 Pen, and I made a big hubbub a couple of months ago about having a particular kind of S Pen and really customizing that experience. That yellow S Pen that I got can now fit into this laptop. It has the same amount of functionality as you would get on the Galaxy Note 9, only that layer is now on top of Windows, which makes perfect sense to me. There are styluses out there, there are ways of actually using pointing devices to get much better pinpoint accuracy when it comes to selecting things, but the S Pen adds that along with things like Smart Select, and that's really awesome because that's something you might want to use when you want to cut out a particular portion of your screen or of the window that you're viewing. And then as far as gaming laptops go, there were some really crazy looking ones out there, and actually I didn't get to look at many of them. The main one I looked at was at Razer, and it was still a good example. I'm still excited for them because Nvidia brought RTX graphics to laptops. So if you want to get a lot more power out of something, maybe you'll sacrifice a little bit of portability, but it comes with great graphics that I want to use for my creative endeavors, but also gaming on the go. I mean, how could you not? There were a couple of these Razer Blade 15 Advanced laptops that were on display at our briefing, and they had different screens. These are ones that are not going to be made available right away. It's going to be something down the line, but there was a 240 hertz refresh rate screen and then an OLED screen. They both looked awesome, especially the OLED screen. Those colors just really popped. Speaking of imaging, I'm really happy to say that I actually got to Panasonic. They actually reached out and asked if I wanted to look at anything at CES at their booth, and I had to say the Lumix S1 and S1R. Now, this was exciting because I'm such a big fan of the Lumix line, and I actually got to see something that I'm really into at CES that wasn't a phone. There was one problem though. I tried to turn on this camera and it wouldn't turn on. Why? Because it was a dummy unit. That said, it was weighted properly and it has the full control layout that you will expect on the full retail unit when it comes out in the end of March. But with that said, I was still excited to get a look at it and to really get a feel for it. It actually made me feel like I want to get this camera just to see what it would be like. Even if it's not a super video-centric camera, it will have many of those same capabilities. And on top of that, with full frame glass, I'll get better low light, and I want to get back into just general photography anyway. This will be a good way to do it, to really sort of dive into it. The last things I want to talk about are just general fun that I had. There was one particular show, one particular area where I got to take a look at the Muse headband. Okay, this headband is made for meditation, and it's supposed to give you biofeedback. Now, this is kind of against a lot of what I know about meditation, where you're not really supposed to have anything on you or around you. It's supposed to be a disconnection from things that might distract you, but the Muse headband is trying to give you an actual representation of whether or not your meditation is effective. It does that via sensors that are on your forehead right here, including sensors for your breath, sensors for your heart rate, sensors for your brain waves. And using those metrics, it tells you whether you had, let's say, recovery times. Let's say your mind wandered off and you were able to bring it back to your main focus, which generally in meditation, at least for me, is the breath. And it's able to give you a graph of what your brain waves looked like. So that way you have an idea of how you did now, and you can try, even though that's kind of opposite of what meditation is meant to be, you can try to be better next time. And I love this kind of tech because it molds tech and health together. It uses tech to give you an actual bit of feedback as to whether or not what you're doing is truly effective and to see progression happen. So I think if you've never meditated before, then you can use something like this to actually get into it and actually see your progress. And also, it's just really funny because who could say they went to a busy show floor at CES, put on some noise-canceling headphones, and actually took a moment to just chill out for a bit. And one final thing I want to talk about in regards to phones happens to be what I'm using right now. Now, none of the phones that were shown at CES 2019 really got me too excited. Even that FlexPi was a little bit odd to me, and I don't believe that I'm going to enjoy that usage on the daily. And then the Honor View 20 deserves a special mention because it is a powerful device with a new punch hole screen, and I'm going to be doing the review on that soon, so that's why I don't really feel the need to mention it right now. But what I do want to mention is this new microphone that I'm using that actually makes your smartphone a full vlogging machine, because it comes in a kit. You get a small little Pixie tripod by Manfrotto, and then I'm using a wide angle lens right now, and then the audio you're hearing is way better than the audio you would get normally on the OnePlus 6T. It's just enhanced with this connected microphone by SHURE. This is the Motiv MV88 Plus. Expect a review of this particular device, but also expect me to talk about my general smartphone vlogging rig. So there was a lot of fun to be had, not only with friends, but with food and tech and all these new pieces of tech that are out there. So I'm just really jazzed after all of that because I was able to do so much, and it will allow me to do even more moving forward. So keep it tuned to my channel and subscribe to it if you haven't already to keep up with everything going on. And you can also follow me in real time on social media, and you can find that at JVTechT on Instagram and on Twitter. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you again so much for watching. Stick around for even more. Let me know what you think of the video that you're watching right now, especially with the audio coming from this mic. I'm still fiddling with it, getting used to it, but I think that it's already a massive improvement from built-in microphones on smartphones. I did use it on the Pixel 3 XL, and it was a great replacement to the onboard mics of that phone. As you know, the audio on the Pixels can be pretty terrible. But before I go way too long, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you once again, and I'll just remind you to enjoy your tea, everybody.